welcome back to the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. So today, working on getting things put together so that we can go set the post in the ground for the picnic area over at the 100 acres. So we're not going to put actual 4x4s or 6x6s in the ground. We're hoping to have all those cut by the sawmill whenever we get it, and by having not treated wood, since we can't treat our own wood from the sawmill, we are going to just do concrete in the ground and then attach the 6x6s on top of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in, I believe they're called, we're going to put in sonotubes. So they are like 12-inch tubes that you can get in various sizes, but we're going to do 12-inch tubes that are 4 foot tall. We're going to put about 3 feet in the ground and then have about a foot sticking up where we can attach our 6x6 to that. So that, a lot of the rotten things happen right at the ground. So this will kind of help alleviate some of that and help it last longer. So with that, last video got everything laid out on as far as where the posts are going to go and kind of have that oriented. So now we need to dig holes out that are 12 inches in diameter by about 3 feet deep, approximately. So we'll have to level the tops of all those off so that they're at the same level. But the ground over there, so right now it's been very dry. So we have that working against us, as well as that ground in general has just been very hard. So it's got a lot of that coal kind of mixed into it, and not as much clay there, but it's just very, very difficult ground to really dig into. So we did like a test hole, and it was where one of the stumps was. So the first foot or so was pretty easy, but then after that it just became like concrete, trying to get it dug down. So with that, and we don't have an auger or anything for the tractor, so we have access to a hydrovac machine. So basically it is a big power washer with a huge vacuum attached to it, to where it has a spinning head on the power washer, and it will basically liquefy the dirt, and then you use the vac to suck out the dirt and basically the mud mixture. So that's what this machine is here. So we'll be taking it over today. So basically it just sucks in. It has its own holding tank for the water here, and then all of the debris gets put in there. You can see you have these long power washer heads, and then this is one of the ones with the rotating tip to where it rotates and eats out the dirt. Okay, so here we have the vac in place and working on getting everything set up. So we have the 4 outside posts set, but we hadn't determined the middle ones yet. So here we're just doing a little bit of digging, so we have some dirt to put back around the sides. Taking a sonotube, making sure that we have our overall hole size correct, and then getting the vac ready. So basically there's a PVC pipe that you put on the end to suck up all of the water and dirt, and then a big power washer that turns the dirt into a kind of a slurry mixture.
Here we've moved to the next hole and are doing the same process. So we dug a little bit of the dirt out just to have some dirt to put back in around the pipe. And then again, using the Vectron, able to create that hole. We have that pipe there. We measured 3 feet up, so we knew how deep to make the hole. We want about a foot above the ground. So then we repeat the process for the following holes. Even with using the Vectron, this ground is very hard and dry, so it took quite a bit of work even with that to get the holes created, but it was much easier than obviously doing it by hand or trying to use an auger. Okay, again on this hole we had to find the center, so we got it centered. So we knew where to put in the center pier. Okay, so the Vectron has water storage tanks on the side. Well, after these holes we were getting a little low. We probably could have gotten pretty close to finishing, but we did bring a pump. So we pumped some water out of the pond into the storage tanks so that we could finish up the last 2 remaining holes.
Okay, welcome back. So, been over here, have time-lapse footage of getting these 6 holes hydrovac'd. So, they're all at or just below 3 feet. So that's kind of what they'll look like there with the sonotube in. So then the idea is have some stone, the 11s that we brought over. So we'll fill in just a little bit at the bottom and then around the sides, just enough that we can kind of maneuver it and get it level so that it's straight up and down, but then also get it so that all of these sit at the same level across. So I'm going to get the laser level out and get it set up so that we can pick one that we're going to use as our base point, and then from there bring the truck back over with the 11s. Probably put a little bit of 11s down in the bottom so that way we can kind of work the tube in, and then put some around the side of the tube just to help hold it square whenever we start mixing up concrete. Okay, and then we did end up needing a little bit more water for the hydrovac. So we got our little pump out. I believe that's an 1.5-inch pump, and just threw it in the pond here. Have one of the used fire hose from the fire station that like this one's leaking, so it no longer passes their inspection. So since Dad's at the water company, they let him have those. So that's what we got going. Next up, like I said, I'll get the laser level, get it set up, work on getting the sonotubes put in, and work on that next.
To ensure that all of the pipes are at the same level, we took the highest one and got a measurement off that, and are getting everything to that level. So we brought some 11s over and just moving them over with the 5-gallon buckets, and using the laser level to make sure that we have the correct elevation. So here we're just putting the 11s in the bottom and using it to raise up the pipe to get to the correct spot. Once the pipe is at the correct level height-wise, we then just put a level on the inside like he's doing there to make sure that we have the thing pretty square, and then start dumping gravel around the sides of it on the outside to stabilize it, to make sure that it doesn't move and cant to one side or the other. I don't know if it's true on all models or just this specific model, but it's very hard to get a constant beat. So typically you're kind of bouncing back and forth and finding the spot where you're either right above or right below, and you know you're in the right spot and just within an eighth of an inch or so on each side of the correct elevation. And for this, since we're doing all of our own custom lumber, being off that little bit's not going to be a big deal. We just want it really close or relatively close so that we're not trying to make up huge differences when building. So this is kind of what I mentioned previously about checking all of them initially for height. So went through and found which one was the highest one, which can be deceiving depending on what level the ground is at, but found that the one in this shot that is closest and to the right is actually the tallest one, even though it looks like it's the one on the left. So we got them all set to that height and had to bring all of them up about an inch or maybe two, depending on what exactly or how exactly the hole fell. So you notice getting in the back of the truck, so we put some 11s in the bladder of one of those IBC totes so that it would stay contained. So we just took a little tractor, filled that up with a couple scoops of the 11s, and it worked very well for containing those and not getting all over the place, and allowing us to get them over to the 100 acres. After we got all of the 11s put for stabilization, we then finished filling up the holes. Okay, have all the sonotubes in, filled with gravel, getting the mixer set up. Gonna use that as our water supply. Have some of the quick bags here, so we'll be able to mix into 5-gallon buckets and then pour them in the tubes. We got the quick bags. We figured we'd need between 30 and 36 of them, kind of depending on which things you read on how many it would take per tube. But we ended up using the back-drawn water supply as our main water, so we just filled 5-gallon buckets to dump in. So I have some in there and just working all of that concrete down so that there's no voids. And then once we put the last bit in, you can then work the cream up to the top so you have a smoother finish instead of all of the pea gravel that's in the quickcrete. This mixture you can really only do about a bag at a time, maybe get away with 2, but it kind of makes a mess. So I just did 1 bag at a time, putting water in, and then by tilting the mixer down a little bit, able to kind of help get everything mixed a little bit better instead of having it all stuck to the back. I went back and forth depending on how solid the concrete was by either pouring it into a 5-gallon bucket to put in the sonotube or just using a shovel to put it in. Again, since we're not doing exact measurements, didn't have super consistent, but for these pillars, they didn't have to be exact. We found that it was easiest to take the concrete mixer right in front of each of the piers that we needed to put in, so able to just wheel that to each of them, mix up between 5 and 6 bags per pillar, and put them in, and then work it in, and then able to kind of go back through and finish off the tops just with a trowel to make it smooth. Having the Vactron there is very convenient as well for cleanup, so we're able to just wheel everything over and use the power washer on the Vactron to clean up everything once we were done. Here are the 6 finished pillars that we have for the picnic shelter. So we went through, got them all filled, and then just did a semi-finish on the top just so it'd be smooth. So thank you for watching the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. Give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time.